XDG has had enough of EGF.
It's down. That's all they need.
Flashing over the wall, there's the death load. Shifter grabs it. Nice!
Another fantastic, decisive win by TSM. 30 minutes in, Dyer's just eating 2 turrets for breakfast.
Hard heads on, they go in! The flash timbers! The equalizer is sitting on the entire team, but Cloud9 is shredding! Cloud9 was hungry coming off of last week's loss. They get the win over Curse. Oh, he gets it with the rocket!
That's how we do. Oh, baby!
Wow. They're in the base at 21 minutes and shredding CLG. They ask, would the streak continue for Dig? They are going to be able to continue it on, enjoying the victory.
Hello and welcome to Week 3 of the North American League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split. We're coming to you live in front of this amazing studio audience here in Los Angeles, California. I am David Freak Turley, and with me is Sam Kobe Hartman-Kensler. First off, we'd like to wish our players and fans who celebrate Lunar New Year all the best in the upcoming year.
Yeah, we do have some very nice, incredible Warring Kingdoms skins on the pillars behind us today.
It's pretty awesome. I love our artists here. And of course, today we kick off the Lunar New Year and another action-packed weekend with the North American LCS with 4 huge games.
So we're going to start with first place TSM facing off against an XGG team that hasn't won since their season opener. And that is going to be followed by a great matchup in the mid when Shifter and Coast take on High and Cloud9.
Then it's going to be Curse versus Counter Logic Gaming in a rematch of one of the wildest games we've seen this spring. And finally, Cloud9 heads back to the Rift for their second game of the day, this time taking on Crepo and Evil Geniuses. But before all that, my new favorite hashtag is LCS Big Plays. We saw a great week of action in the European LCS, and the fans have tweeted. Here are the LCS Big Plays from Friday. This first one comes from Super Hot Crew versus Copenhagen Wolves. Wonderman13 tweets, Yasuo's last breath, please. Annie's 5-man Timber Stun set that whole fight up. Here's LCS Big Play number 2.
Briefly, because the inhibitor turrets has spawned in the top, so the inhibitor did, but that's the bottom and him going down. Flash Timbers coming out from Unlimited, catches 5 members of Super Hard Crew. They're dropping like flies. Countdown finally starts to get himself 1, gets himself 2, jumps around. Moops is going to get caught.
That was only a 4-man Tibbers, by the way, and Yasuo set up his own knock-up there, so we don't really need Annie.
Yasuonage.
The biggest play, though, came from that epic battle between Gambit and Fnatic. JJ Ramsey112 says, holy crap, Genja, that cross-map super mega death rocket onto Peke. And great work by the cameraman as well. Here's the number 1 LCS big play from EU LCS.
They're using everything. He's got Peke, gets caught out. Is he going to be able to dodge the death mark? He's timed it right. But Diamond comes across the side there. And, well, they didn't finish it off. I'm quite surprised. Well done by Peke, though. Oh, the rocket. Super mega death rocket going through. Oh! Wow, across the map.
That's a pretty incredible shot. Dave Mustaine himself would be proud of that super mega death rocket. Guys, remember to send your highlights from today's matches to @LOL Esports and use the hashtag LCS Big Plays.
And if you do hit us up, we'll not only show the biggest plays, but we might call you out on our tweet on tomorrow's broadcast.
Now let's take a look at how Europe's biggest plays affected the standings. Gambit handed Fnatic its first loss of the season in an epic match, and now these two teams are 1 and 2 in the standings.
And it was a really strong week for SK. They climb all the way up to 4th place with their wins over Alliance and Rokat. Then their AD, it was really in part due to their AD carry, Candy Panda.
Yeah.
He went beast mode for SK, and he was rewarded with that Week 3 MVP for his performance.
So now let's send it over to Riv and Jat to get us prepped for today's showdowns.
Thank you very much, Freak. I am indeed Rivington Bizland III, and making up the other half of this broadcast duo lane is Joshua Jat Leesman.
How you doing today, Riv? I'm doing pretty well.
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Let's get the duo lane started. We have to talk about Dignitas. They are one of the hottest teams right now in the league, having won 5 straight games after starting 0-2. This is, however, a bye week for them.
And it's strange. For last week when we were looking at Dignitas, you'd think that sometimes when they get on a hot streak, it's like 1 or 2 players.
Yeah.
But 3 of the top 5 OP players we had at the end of the week were from Dignitas. They do have to, however, worry about cooling off a bit because they're on a bye this week, so we won't get to see them.
And that bye we're talking about means a heavy 3-game workload on the shoulders of both Cloud9 and CounterLogic Gaming. And to start with CLG, Coach Monte Cristo is back for the month. He's returned from casting OGN in Korea and is ready to turn around his team's fortune after a rough start in the spring split.
Yeah, so Monty's finally coaching CLG in person today, something he hasn't been able to do so far this season. He's been coaching long distance, but ever since CLG has added Monte Cristo as a coach, they haven't shown that improvement in the win column, so maybe having him here for an extended period of time will help him out.
And with CLG, the only constant is change. And now there's more. Hotshot GG has hung up his mouse again, and Chouster is going to be taking his place in the mid lane.
Yeah, pretty big news here. Another role swap for CLG. Chouster's an experienced player, though. He was with CLG the entire 2013 season. He played jungle and support, so now he gets to try out mid lane.
And we'll have time to get back to all that. Chouster and CLG aren't the only team with 3 games this weekend. Cloud9 plays twice today, and then in Sunday's finale, a potential first-place showdown against Team Solo Mid and the 2-time MVP Bjergsen.
Yeah, we can't say enough about Bjergsen. He has developed some really great synergy with Odd One, who has been helping him get ahead early. And also, the Odd One is also showing that he is a fully capable jungler, one of the best junglers in North America. He can compete with those young guns. A lot of people don't realize there's 2 jungle subs on TSM behind the Odd One. I can't wait to see his matchup against Meteos this
A little
weekend.
bit of motivation there. And finally, we need to hit on the patch update. Last week, Yasuo was banned. Now he's back, and we'll see if the Unforgiven makes an appearance in today's matches. So now let's take a look at the standings heading into today's games. In first place, it's Team Solo Mid with 5 wins and 1 loss.
Hot on their tail is Cloud9 in second place, although they're the same in the win column, or the loss column, while Dignitas is actually guaranteed to have an undefeated week this week because they don't play.
And in fourth, it's Curse with 3 wins and 3 losses. It's a 3-way tie for 5th between Coast, CLG, and Evil Geniuses.
And finally, there's XDG, the Summer Split's third-place team, who's actually struggling to find their game so far in the spring.
Yeah, now, Jet, let's take a closer look at some of the players who will be vital to their team's chances of winning today.
We were just talking about XGG. ManCloud is so vital in their success. He led the LCS in kills during the Summer Split, set a record even, but now he's actually top deaths in the LCS and is only averaging 1.8 kills a game. He needs to step up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also interested in seeing how Pole Belter fares. He had a great game for Evil Geniuses against XDG Sunday, and he should be looking to build on that.
Yeah, and building on that as well for Evil Geniuses wants to be Yellow Pete. He's played 5 different 80 carry champions so far, Urgot being the most recent, and that was successful, but his team said he still wasn't playing it that well, so he has to keep those unconventional picks and keep his enemy off kill.
Absolutely. Benny also has been one of the consistent players for XDG so far. He's held down his own in the top lane and will have an important matchup today against Dyrus.
Yeah, Benny is so consistent, and Yen is also a fairly consistent seeming top laner, but he also doesn't make many miraculous plays. So much of CLG is talking about Doublelift and Aphromoo and all their role swaps.
Right.
It's really Yen who should be the one stepping up here. He made the role swap, needs to make an impact.
All right, and now it is a chance for you to hit us up with the players you'll be watching today. Jump on Twitter and let us know who's the most underrated player in the NA LCS and why.
Yes, send your answers to @LOL Esports and be sure to use the hashtag LCS because we'll read the best responses later in the broadcast.
Absolutely, and while you're flexing your social media muscles, visit us at lolesports.com. You can find the most up-to-date news and analysis, interviews with your favorite players, stats, box scores, and every NA LCS game we've broadcast this season.
Click on tickets to reserve your spot in our studio audience and get the full immersive experience of an LCS game day, where you can see Rib and his beard in person. Just click on tickets for all the details.
Absolutely. Then weigh in on who will win today's matches. Click on matches at the top right. Go to week 3 and exercise your right to vote, just like our forefathers intended. Now let's throw it across the studio to Freak and Kobe, who are hanging out with Team Coast's mid laner.
Thank you very much, Riv. We are here and have to be joined by Team Coast mid laner Shifter. How you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
Doing pretty great, man. So I got to ask you, you're up against Cloud9 coming in today, first match for you guys of the day. How do you feel coming into that match?
I think it's going to be a pretty close match. We actually scrimped them quite a bit, and honestly, we do pretty okay against them, and I think it's going to be a really close match.
So going up specifically against High, you know, he's played 5 different champions in 5 different games. Is there anything special that you do to prepare for that matchup?
High usually practices a lot of his heroes in solo queue. The one that surprised everyone was kind of the Teemo pick. He kind of played it a little bit before LCS started, and I saw he was going to pick it, and yeah, I just kind of pay attention to what he plays and react to it.
So you actually probably match up against him a fair bit in solo queue. How do your sort of head-on-head matches actually go?
In solo queue, honestly, solo queue matchups don't matter at all because one guy's trying to test his limits and like diving towers over and
Okay.
over it. So yeah,
Not a fair comparison.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough then. So coming to this one, of course, Coast has had a pretty rough start to the season, 2-4. I know you're one of the big forces on your team from the mid lane. How are you guys sort of shaping up as a team?
I think we're shaping up really well, especially with Alex Penn as our new analyst. He's really helping our scrim schedule. He's making our practices like really, really effective and time efficient. And I think we're going to shape up really well.
So, talking about the solo queue and how much experience you can gain from there, it's been said a lot that Hai and Bjergsen have had a lot of exchange of different strategies from like European style, North American style. Have you picked up anything from Bjergsen since he came over here?
Me and Bjergsen bounce. Oh, sorry. Me and Bjergsen bounce ideas off each other all the time. We talk about, do you think this champion's good? Do you think this champion's good against this champion? And so yeah, I guess all midlers kind of like bounce ideas off each other. So we kind of all have similar champion pools.
All right, well, Shifter, thank you very much. Good luck in your matches today and tomorrow. And, of course, we've got more LCS action, guys, so let's get to it. Got to slip into the fog of war for a minute, but when we come back, the day gets underway with #1 TSM trying to stay on top when they battle XDG. The North American LCS continues right after this.